As said before, I really love the Nintendo Switch generation. It is Nintendo's best, I think, for their gaming lineup, maybe outside of the GameCube. And, for me personally, it's the first one that I've really engaged with the library in an extended way. Obviously, I was very obsessed and very into the Wii U, but I never owned one and I never got to play these games. But with the Switch, I owned it since basically day one, and I engaged with so many different games and so many different franchises that I never thought I would. And it has really formed my gaming tastes in a way that no other console really has. And so because of that, these games mean a lot to me. So when coming up with a list of 10 of my favourite Nintendo Switch games, it is a monolithic task. But it's a task that I decided to undergo, and I have narrowed it down to just 10 games for Nintendo Switch that are my absolute favourites. If you're watching this video, I'd appreciate if you haven't subscribed already, if you would subscribe and ring the notification bell. In addition, I would appreciate a like, and maybe you can list your top 10 favourite Nintendo Switch games. I know that yours is going to be very different from mine, and that's the magic of it. That's really the magic of this kind of video. So before I do get into my top 10, I would like to just have a list of excluded games for varying reasons. So these aren't included because I either haven't finished them, I haven't played them at all, or I'm currently playing in the case of one. So the first one, I'm currently playing Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not sure if it would reach this top 10, but obviously things can change, but I can't include it either way. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played this game. I started it, I passed the Sky Island thing, I got bored. And that sounds a little bit disingenuous, but I couldn't really get into it. I was in a little bit of a gaming slump. I am probably going to try it again with the Switch 2 edition, see how I go. Fire Emblem Engage and Fire Emblem Three Houses, both of these games I haven't played. I own Three Houses and I want to play it eventually, but it's just a very overwhelming game. I couldn't really get into it when I started it. I did play a couple hours of it, so I did get to the starting section of it. I just never really got too far. Pikmin 4, I actually own it and I plan to play it, but it might be later in the year after the Switch 2 comes out, and so I'm not going to wait until I play it to really determine whether it's in this list. If it is, I'll let you know, I guess, when I play it, but it could be. I have never played a Pikmin game though, so I can't really tell if it would or if it wouldn't. And the final one I want to exclude is Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Now this one might be a little bit surprising as we get a little bit later down this video, but I started it and I never really got into it. I think I was in a little bit of a gaming slump at that time, and so I do really want to get back into it. I'm expecting a Switch 2 edition, so maybe I should wait for that, but it can't be included on this list. So anyway, those are the major games I'd say that aren't included on here because I haven't played them, or I haven't played enough of them. Let's get into my honourable mentions first. My first honourable mention today is ARMS. Now this is an interesting pick. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't put it in the top 10, and I didn't put it in my top 10, but it is a game that circles the top 10 because it is a game that I really love and I think is very underrated. I love the characters, I love the world of ARMS. I actually really enjoy the gameplay. I will come back to it, every now and then. It's just really fun to get back to and just play. It's just I just find it so much fun. I think that there's a lot of potential there, and I think that because of the lack of content, I think with outside of the main battling mode, it just felt like there could be a lot more to it, and I think that an ARMS 2 would fix that problem and hopefully make the game resonate with people more. But for now, the game itself I think is incredible, and I really do enjoy it, even though I can't put it on my top 10. Next is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Now this is another incredible game. It's another game that I really enjoy. Like, I just absolutely love playing through this. It was just so much fun. Kirby Star Allies on the same system just wasn't nearly as good as this. Like, that felt very generic, and it was still fun. I still enjoyed playing it. I have good memories of it, but Kirby and the Forgotten Land, it just felt so inventive. It just felt so original. I loved the locations of it. I loved the vibes of it. I loved the platforming levels. I love the bosses even. Just everything about it was very fresh and new for Kirby in a good way. And I'm really excited to see where they go next. And the fact that this isn't in my top 10 just goes to show the quality of the Nintendo Switch games. My next pick is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which is an incredible game. You know, I think this probably would be in my top 10 if it wasn't a remake. And that might sound a little bit hypocritical, because I have some games that are ports or remasters or remakes in my top 10. But, you know, when you're on this kind of cutthroat list, in this situation, you have to make some decisions. And Thousand Year Door, while it's an incredible game, while I absolutely adored playing through this game. I love like the different chapters, the different arcs. I love the partners. I love the combat. At the end of the day, I had to make a decision, and it unfortunately narrowly missed my top 10. But it is an incredible game that I think about quite a lot ever since beating it last year. And the final honourable mention for me is going to be Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is my favourite Pokemon game on Nintendo Switch, and it was really close to it. It was very much firmly in my top 10 for a while, until I was really trying to figure out this video, and I realised that it just couldn't fit in. Unfortunately, it just couldn't fit in. I took it out for another game that might surprise some people, but I decided that that game, I think, deserved the spotlight more in my top 10, I think, in terms of defining my favourite games for Nintendo Switch. But, you know, beyond that, I love the gameplay loop of this game. I love the aesthetic, I love the settings, I love the lore that it builds up, there's so many things I love about this game. It just feels the most customizable Pokemon game, and that's the best thing about it, in my opinion. It just feels like everyone's experience with this game is unique, and that's just, yeah, it just feels like a really good step in the right direction for Pokemon. And they've obviously taken that lesson, because we have Legends EA coming out this year, which also seems to be taking a step forward for the series as well in an experimental route. Now the honourable mentions are out of the way, let's get into my list, starting with number 10. My number 10 slot, and this was, as I said, a very cutthroat list, and this is maybe a surprising pick for many people, but my 10th slot for the 10th best Nintendo Switch game, in my opinion, is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Yes, I adore this game. And yeah, as I said before, I haven't played Sparks of Hope. I really, really do want to. I own it, and as I said, I started it and I never finished it. And it's not because of the game itself. It's just because of the time in my life that I got it and played it. I was just very busy. I wasn't really engaging with many games that weren't called Pokemon for some reason. So I never got around to playing it, but I do want to. But the original game, Kingdom Battle, is very underrated. I think that a lot of people now will say that Sparks of Hope is just an improvement in every way, and you know, potentially it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I play it and I think that as well. But Kingdom Battle is just a lot more simple. It's not really as built up. The crossover world isn't as built up as in Sparks of Hope. What it looks like, at least. It's kind of like just a literal merging of Rabbids in Mario to like the literal extent. Like, it is just the Mushroom Kingdom, but then the Rabbids are just kind of plastered in it, and that's the charm of it. I find that really interesting and very different. Like, imagine saying that Mario and Rabbids were going to get a crossover game, and it was not only going to be a crossover game, but it was going to be a strategy RPG, like a tactical RPG, and it was going to be on Nintendo Switch in year one, and it was actually going to be one of my favourite games on the console. That's really impressive in my opinion. You know, I think Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is just so much fun. I really, really enjoy the gameplay of it. I mean, that XCOM like strategy RPG just really fits, just really works in this case. I think it's because of the additional stuff they add, like being able to like jump off of a person, like you kind of like go up to the person, you can jump off of them, and as you upgrade your skill tree, for example, you can get into these wild situations where you can like slide through like 5 enemies and then jump off another enemy, go to another place and then shoot another enemy. It's like there's so much combo potential, and I think what made it even better was they added the Donkey Kong DLC. So I mean, that's always gonna do well for me. But they also added like a multiplayer DLC, where a free update where you could play like just the basic game against other people. And I did this with a friend of mine, and it was genuinely some of the most fun multiplayer I've ever played. And I need to play it more because it is just so much fun. This game is so interesting, it's so unique, it's so one of a kind, and I think that it doesn't get the love that it maybe deserves. But Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle was my 10th favourite Nintendo Switch game. And number 9 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, this is a game that I wasn't sure if I'd include in a top 10 because it is a Wii U port, but I decided I am going to include remasters, and I'm going to include Wii U ports because these are the first time I've really engaged with these games. So these, to me, these are Nintendo Switch games. These are Nintendo Switch exclusives. And in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's case, it quite literally doubled itself on Nintendo Switch. And Nintendo didn't even make a new Mario Kart game for the base Nintendo Switch because it sold so ridiculously well. And there's a reason for it, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is just maybe the most accessible game on Nintendo Switch. Anyone can play it, and anyone can have fun with it. It is just that engaging and that fun. And there's just so much to it. There's so much content. There's so many there's so many options really in the game. And I think at a pub near me in my uni town, that there's literally a Mario Kart night on Sunday. I've been there. I've done the championship, and I've won the prize, and I won the tournament. And it's just like it's a game that brings everyone together, and so it absolutely deserves to be in the top 10 Switch games. I think everyone kind of agrees deep down that it is really top 10 Nintendo Switch games. But obviously this is not everyone's, this is mine, and for me it is absolutely my number 9 favourite Nintendo Switch game. My number 8 might surprise you with how low it is respectively, but this is a game that I didn't know if I wanted to put it in my top 10, because it's a game that I really respect, but it's not a game that I think is like the best game ever made like a lot of people do. But that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now this might sound outrageous to not be like number 1 or number 2 or number 3. And I'm gonna stand my ground here. I still think this is a masterpiece. I still think this is an incredible game. And honestly, it is one of the best experiences I've had on Nintendo Switch. The first experience playing this in 2017, I mean, I played it through even into 2018 because of I don't even know what happened there, but I kind of stopped playing it for a little bit. I don't know. But either way, because of that, I just had such an involved experience with this game, just exploring and finding stuff, that this game means a lot to me, and I think it is an incredible game. And I think the only reason it's not higher is just because I'm not like the biggest Zelda fan. This game didn't change my life. It's a game that I respect, and I agree that is a masterpiece, and I had an incredible experience with. But I wouldn't put it as like, if I had to list 4 Nintendo Switch games, I wouldn't say like Breath of the Wild was my favourite, or like in my 4 favourites. But it is an incredible game that deserves to be on this list. I think everyone will put this on the list. I think everyone will, because it is just a universal experience, this game, I think. Number 7 is Splatoon 3. Now, why didn't I choose Splatoon 2? Because I did play Splatoon 2 at launch. I played it at launch and I played it for a while, and I really, really loved Splatoon 2. And then I just fell off of it. I stopped playing it. I never really got around to the Final Fest. And when Splatoon 3 was announced, I was quite excited about it. I thought it looked incredible. Then it came out and it seemed a little bit too samey to Splatoon 2. And so because of that, I thought, well, I don't know if I want to have I have Splatoon 2. I don't need Splatoon 3. So I never got it at launch. But in 2024, early last year, around this time, I decided, I don't know what happened, I kind of felt an overwhelming surge of curiosity to try Splatoon 3 and get into it again, because I was kind of itching for a Splatoon experience. And let me tell you, it was the best decision of my life. I got very, very addicted to this game. I was quite literally addicted to this game for like maybe the entire summer. And obviously I kind of fell off of that addiction a little bit. I don't really invest in online games as much as other people do. I kind of have my couple months and then I kind of back off and I still play it here and there. But Splatoon 3, it really engaged me, and I really, really got into it, and I still, every time I go back to it now, I still enjoy it. And it's just the best Splatoon game on the Switch. It is the most optimized. I love the lobby system. I actually really like the catalog feature. I think that's a really inspired feature to really incentivize me. I think that's what made me addicted to it more than Splatoon 2. It was that I felt I had to, log on and get more of my catalog. The final fest, the Grand Fest, was an incredible event. It ran like a little bit not great because there were so many assets, but it was an event. It was an incredible event, and I'm very excited about Splatoon 4. My number 6 goes to another Wii U port, and it is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now this one doesn't have as many new features as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so a lot of people might not count this. But like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the first time on my Switch. I played that. I didn't have the Wii U, and I don't think I had really had much Donkey Kong experience at the time either. I was just interested by it because of the hype around a new Donkey Kong game, the funky mode. I think I was just very into getting new games no matter what franchise were, and I played this and I really enjoyed it. I found this game to be really just really well designed. Like, the level design is incredible. It's challenging, it's engaging. When you beat a level, you feel really satisfied, and the music's amazing. It's definitely the better of the two retro Donkey Kong games. I played Returns HD literally a couple of weeks ago. I think I finished it, and it's an incredible game. But Tropical Freeze, I think, has a more unique aesthetic, and I kind of wish that K. Rool was in it, but obviously that was never going to happen in that instance. So this game is incredible and one of the best games on Nintendo Switch and one of my favourite 2D platformers. So if you haven't played it, I really would recommend it. Going into the top 5, we have number 5 being Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is an incredible game, and I actually did a session. I played a session with some friends last night, and it was a phenomenal experience. It was so much fun. This game, to this day, even 7 years later, is just so engaging, so much fun. It's just, there's so many characters, and the quality of those characters is just insane. The fact that Steve from Minecraft is in it, the fact that Joker from Persona 5 is in it, the fact that Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy 7 is in it, the Snake from Metal Gear Solid. It's just, the roster is absolutely insane, and the gameplay is fun enough to make, because obviously you can only do so much with a cool roster, but the actual gameplay has to be fun as well, and Smash Ultimate is just always fun. It never gets boring, especially a free-for-all with friends is just like, it's chaos in the best way. So Smash Ultimate, the fact that it can only be 5th place, in and of itself just shows the quality of these next 5 games. My number 4, and this is surprising for me, I feel like a few years back I would never believe myself, is Super Mario Odyssey. Now this is only 4th place. I love this game, I adore this game. This is my favourite 3D platform, this is my favourite Mario game. This is one of the best Nintendo Switch games, and I think a lot of people have some reservations with it, especially in recent years. They've kind of opened up to them and been more vocal about them, and there are several things about this game that people have issue with that I just don't have that same issue with. But I can understand it. Mario Odyssey isn't as focused on that pure platforming challenge experience as something like 3D World or Galaxy or even Mario 64 and Sunshine, and so in some people's case, I don't really like that it's more focused on being a collectathon than being a true, tried and true platform experience. But for me personally, I thought that exploring these really unique and really just fascinating locations with new NPCs and new capture ability, the fact that you can go to a city, just everything is just so much fun in this game. It's so creative and new and inventive that I don't mind that there's just too many moons, because for me, too many moons isn't an issue. That's really the best part, in my opinion. I think having too many moons for me is what makes me love it. I just feel rewarded every single time I get one. Maybe I'm just too easy to impress, but I'm a simple man of simple pleasures, and When I see a game that is just built on just pure love and passion, it really, really does radiate off the game. And I think Mario maybe controls the best he ever has in this game. It's just so fluid and just so much fun to use. I don't think any other 3D Mario game has Mario feeling as agile. I think that he absolutely plays the best in Mario Odyssey. But that's my number 4 slot. We're going into the top 3 Nintendo Switch games, and my number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, this game is something really special, and if you haven't played this game, I really would recommend it. This is just a phenomenal game. Just that every aspect of it. It's just the story, the characters, the combat system is the best in the series. The world design is, I think that's the point of contention for many people, because it is focused on being a literal fusion of Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 areas, but they are still expansive and they're still so much fun to really explore. And I think that the addition of stuff like hero quests really makes the game more engaging in the side content department. Each of those hero quests felt like I was filling out the world. I was feeling like I was mapping out the world in my brain, kind of figuring out the different factions of this weird fusion of 1 and 2. But the core story is just so emotional and just so earnest as well. It's definitely the best JRPG on the best original JRPG on Nintendo Switch. And if you haven't played it, I really highly recommend it. I don't think you'd regret it, but I also would probably recommend playing 1 and 2 first. My second favourite Nintendo Switch game is Metroid Dread. This game is just phenomenal. It's the game that really got me into Metroid, I think, because before this game, had tried Super Metroid on NSO, and I couldn't get into it. I got lost at the very start, which I went back to Super Metroid since, and I actually got past that very easily. So clearly, I was just dumb. But when this was announced, I even felt the hype, because it just felt so impossible. I'd also heard about this Metroid Dread thing on the DS, and so it was just very unbelievable. It was just very unbelievable that they had brought back the Dread name and they actually made Metroid 5. And so I was definitely curious by it. I thought it looked really fun, but I was not sure if I would vibe with the gameplay. I thought maybe the gameplay wouldn't be for me. But when I played it, I was fully invested in it, and I'm pretty sure I beat it within a couple of weeks. I got really engaged by it, and it was an incredible game to just have there. When I was had nothing to do, I just sit down, I'll play some Metroid Dread. So Metroid Dread is incredible, and I think that it becomes even better when you play the entire series, because I've since gone and played the entire mainline series, and yeah, I think now Metroid Dread, the story is just really interesting. It's insane. The things that get pushed forward and the things that get teased for the next entry is just incredible. And that core gameplay that Mercury Steam infused in it with the melee attacks is just... Samus has never felt better, and it's such an incredible game, and probably the best original Nintendo Switch game in my opinion. But with that leaves one more game, one more entry in my list here. And you could use the power of deduction, really. And if you know me, you probably do know what number 1 will be now, considering I've included ports and remasters. But my number 1 is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, a lot of people might think it's a bit of a cop-out, because this is actually a Wii game. It is a Wii game that's been remastered, and that's really it. It's only been remastered. There's some quality of life stuff. There's a new epilogue, but at the end of the day, it is at its core a Wii game. And to that I say, yeah, you're right, but I never played it on the Wii. I never played it on the 3DS. I played this on Nintendo Switch, and it was a game that I was kind of interested in, because I had owned Xenoblade 2, and I played some of it, and I just stopped playing it for whatever reason, and I have since gone back to it, but I wasn't sure if Xenoblade was my thing. A similar thing with Metroid. And I knew that my friend was really into Xenoblade, and specifically Xenoblade 1. And so because of that mutual, because we had a lot of similar interests, I thought, okay, I'll give this a go. I think it looks good. And this game, it grabbed me. I was having fun with exploring the Bionis, and then there's like the midpoint, and it really just, it blows your mind, and then the game just refuses to stop blowing your mind after that, and it just has the best story that I've ever experienced in a video game. It's just the moments that are created from the story is just incredible. And a lot of people will diss the gameplay itself, and the combat's boring, and in comparison to the other three games, it's not as in-depth, and I will admit to that. But simple doesn't mean bad. It is simple and it's been built on, but at its foundation, I do love the Xenoblade combat. I find it really fun. I remember I was very apprehensive about it, but I ended up really enjoying it. And so Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is not only my favourite Nintendo Switch game, it's also my favourite game of all time. And I think without this game, I wouldn't be into games in the same way I am now. I think it really defined my tastes in games more so than any other game on this list. But that is my number one slot, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. And I guess if you don't want to count a port and a remaster, you can probably readjust my list with the honorable mentions if you really want to, if you feel that strongly about that. But as I said before, that is my list, and if you have a different list, even if you have the same one, that would be really interesting if you somehow had the same one. Just tell me below. I'd really be interested to read it. But other than that, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.